in my diary on the 28th of every month, I have what I call my date with destiny. And it's simply like an hour or two where I kind of make myself a nice cup of tea, pot of tea. I have a pen and paper. I actually have like a file on this now. And I think about, all the areas in my life that come up in the future. So financially, where do I want to be? Relationally, where do I want to be? Where do I want to be in my family? How do I want to show up with my friends? How do I want to be looking after myself physically? Where do I want my home to be? What do I want my surrounding community to be like? What do I want people to feel when I walk into a room? What do I want people to think when they think of me? Yeah, the kind of work I'm doing, the hobbies that perhaps I'm bringing to life, and I'm just sharing these as examples, and I would encourage you to kind of just see what comes up. And what I find again is that that list develops over time. So the more we think about our vision for ourselves in the future, the more developed that vision gets. And then the more we lean into life and we start achieving, the more we realize, oh, actually, I thought I wanted this, but I actually want this. And yeah, I discovered this and I want a whole load more of that in my life. So I really want to impart this knowledge, this approach, this wisdom, and this philosophy for life with you. So I would love to invite you, similar to myself, to pick a day. It could be mine, 28th of every month. I pick the 28th because there's 28 days in every month. And I take the evenings on that day because for some reason, I find I dream more ambitiously in the evenings rather than the mornings. And I would love for you to, in the first instance, just think about the areas of life that come to mind. And what is interesting is that at different times, different areas are in real focus. So let's say if somebody's going through a breakup, like, my God, they will take all the learnings from that experience and think long and hard about, okay, if I'm in a relationship in the future, this is the kind of partner that I want to have. This is how I want to show up for my partner. Let's say if they're going through tough times in terms of their family, they might think really ambitiously about that. Career dominates, obviously, for so many. But I would love you to think about the various areas that you want to put, attention towards, and I would invite you to sit with yourself and think ambitiously. And the ambition is really important. They say that most people don't think big enough for themselves, and they completely underestimate what they can achieve in the years. We overestimate what we can achieve in the short term, and we underestimate what we can achieve in the long term. But I would really encourage you to think ambitiously, and don't worry, don't stress over this. Like there's no there's no perfect fix on this. As I said, it evolves with time. But if you give yourself, say, an hour or two every month to sit with yourself and think about what you want, and to apply the learnings from experience and refine what it is that you want, and develop the picture across various aspects of your life, this becomes a guide. This becomes a frame from which to approach life. I find when I am out of sorts and when I'm de-energized, when I actually observe myself, I recognize that I've lost track of what it is that I'm working for, or towards, or living for. And I find that if I sit back into this vision exercise, it starts to, well, perhaps one be a little bit confronting, because I can find sometimes quite quickly that I'm not living for myself. I'm sometimes living for others around me, which happens in life. We're all the time getting pulled in different directions. And if we don't have a vision for ourselves, we'll very quickly find ourselves living for others. It's actually there's a sad kind of saying around that, which is that if you aren't clear in terms of where you're going and what you're working towards, you'll very quickly find yourself working for others and what they're living for or working towards. And it is fascinating how it happens. And I really don't want that for you. I want you to be working towards your dreams, working towards your ambitions, and so yeah, sometimes it can be confronting, recognizing okay, I'm out of sorts because I've completely lost track of where I'm going. I've actually found myself working for everybody else around me. And that's why I pencil this in on the 28th of every month, because sometimes we do get out of sorts. But when I sit down and I start to, again, dip back into my vision for myself, it can pull me back from others and into my own focus. And